everybody. I am Kristin Hoefer. I live in Tiburon with my husband and our 2 golden retrievers. I am a consumer tech exec and an MSIV, very proud investor and advisor. And I'm here today, so excited to interview Katlin Smith, who is the badass founder, CEO, and now advisor of Simple Mills. So Katlin, please introduce us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And also thank you for that introduction. I don't know if I've ever been called badass on stage, so I appreciate it. So Katlin Smith, founder and now advisor of Simple Mills. I very recently stepped down from the CEO seat. I am a North Bay resident. I live in Green Bay with my 2 young kids. So I've got a 7-month-old and 3.5-year-old. 3.5-year-olds at Marin Montessori, and I also, so I suppose other things I do in the community. I also am a brand new College of Marin student. So going to be taking a class in the fall on climate change, which I'm pretty excited about. But have been in this community for 5 years and excited to be here.
Amazing, welcome. Tell us a story about Simple Mills. How'd you start it?
Yeah, so I started Simple Mills about 13 and a half years ago. I had cleaned up my diet and taken out a lot of the processed food and a lot of the sugar. And my health really just did a 180. I was really astounded by all of the different things that food affects. And especially 13, 14 years ago, we weren't talking about all of these things that food affect. And so I wanted to really help change what people were eating. And so I thought about a lot of different ways to do that and decided that one of the best ways to do that was to start a food company that did it differently. So I started Simple Mills in my kitchen. We today are the largest natural cracker, natural baking mix, and natural cookie brand in the country. And we make those products out of just simple, nutrient-dense ingredients, things you can pronounce, and things that work hard for you, like almonds and butternut squash and red beans, and put them into super simple and kind of delicious formats that people know and love. So started that in my kitchen, like many food entrepreneurs do. Did all of it from developing the recipes, developing the packaging, reading the FDA website, to figure out how you create a nutrition facts label on your own. I mean, just you name it, I did it in the early days. And then, goodness, I mean, how do you pack it into this? But really scaled that team up to 140 people and awesome. the behemoth that it is now.
Amazing. Okay, so consumer packaged goods, CPG, can be, or often is known to be, hard to raise capital. So how did you finance the company early, especially before you had the growth metrics and other scores where you could bring in professional investors? What did you do early on?
Yeah, so definitely very hard. I mean, getting funding as a first-time entrepreneur, I think, is hard for everyone. And I mean, it was extremely hard for me, and I was still very fortunate in a lot of ways in that I was registered as a full-time student at Booth, getting my MBA at the time. So I was in a class on fundraising, and it was still extremely difficult. I was talking to probably 9 different investors every single day, trying to get them to call me back. And everyone you talk to, they say, oh, it's not right for me, but here's 2 people you can talk to. And so I said yes to all of those, and I kept saying yes. And I think what finally hooked our lead investor was I had talked to so many potential investors that Lou, who turned out to be our lead investor, he walked into a Whole Foods store one day, and he turned to the woman next to him in the grocery store and asked what she thought of the brand. And I had talked to so many people that this woman was also looking to invest in Simple Mills and told him that.
No way. I love that.
And so he called me up later on that afternoon saying, you know, I want exclusive rights to take a look at this deal for a week. So look, I mean, I think that it's resilience. And look, we had angel investors as our primary funding source all the way through when we did a secondary private equity transaction in 2019. So it was, it's tough to get people to believe in you.
Yeah, excellent fundraising strategy. Well, you led Simple Mills for 14 years. Imagine there were some highs and lows. Tell us about some of those.
Yeah, it's funny with these questions. A lot of times, I feel like it's like the things that you would expect to stand out. Like, okay, when we get into Whole Foods Global for the first time, like that's a high. I mean, it is a high. Or you have lows of like all the cookies were breaking. What were we going to do about that with a contract manufacturer? But I honestly, for me, I think when you lead a company over almost 14 years, the real highs and lows that I felt were, look, as an entrepreneur, I think we're all kind of adrenaline junkies. And so we like those moments where it's like, oh, we got to figure it out and we got to run to get this thing done and try to find a co-man to do this or that. And those moments were a lot of fun. And I think the hardest moments for me were actually the moments where there wasn't a lot of, I have to figure something out or I have to run really hard to get something done. And things are just kind of running. And look, like any relationship, companies, your feelings about them and the way that it hits on you personally changes over time and it ebbs and flows. And sometimes you're more engaged and you're less engaged, and then you get like re-engaged and that you light that fire again. But also I think part of your role as a leader, as you are shifting from this company that you've built every single thing yourself and everything rests on your shoulders to the point where you hand off the baton, is really building something that can run without you. And that a lot of times feels like you're no longer needed. I imagine it's probably a lot like one day I'm going to have to, have my kids leave the door, and you hope that they can do it without you. And so I really think building that strength and stability in a team, sometimes it feels that way.
Yeah. Okay, amazing. Let's see, in 2025, so last year, Flower Foods agreed to acquire Simple Mills for $795 million, as we heard. I think you probably got approached along the way in those 14 years before. How did you decide to pick them as a partner? And what was that process, that acquisition process, like for you as the founder after all those years?
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited. They are really wonderful partners, and I thought they would be when we first partnered with them, and it turned out it was true. But I think one of the things that really attracted me to them was just seeing over their history how many companies they had acquired and done it successfully and maintained what kept them special and provided them the resources that they needed to not only succeed but expand and grow. They also acquired Dave's Killer Bread probably about 10 years ago, or a little bit over 10 years ago. And look, you see them maintaining this mission. You see them really kind of providing them the resources in terms of innovation, expanding their household awareness, expanding their distribution footprint. And so really it was with that investment thesis that we decided to partner, and that's what we've been doing together. And it's been really, really wonderful. And so we met them probably 5 years before this even took place and built a relationship over time.
That's amazing. Let's see, so you've now just recently, I think a month or two ago, transitioned from being the day-to-day CEO operations leader into a founder advisor role. Tell us about the thought process to get to that, and also what comes next. What do you want to do next with all your spare time?
Yeah. So yes, recently stepped down about 2 months ago, and leading the company now is our long-term CMO, Michelle Lorgy. So she's been with the company over 10 years, was kind of my right hand through it all. And honestly, this company, it's as much her thumbprint as it is mine. And so it's really exciting to see her kind of grab the baton and put even more of her fingerprint on the business, and also just kind of see the strength of the team. It's I don't know, for me, a crowning achievement to see the team thrive like this and to be able to carry this on. So I'm really excited for them. And for me, I like to joke that I get to do all of the fun things without any of the boring things. So I get to do the innovation and the mission work and continue to remain involved in that. So really get to continue to shape the future of the company while also getting to focus on other things that matter to me. So I've spent the last almost 14 years thinking about one single problem, which is the food industry and how to change the food industry. And now I have this opportunity to think about other problems that I care about and driving systems change across those. And so practically speaking, this is really building out philanthropic strategy, but I think that the deeper work there is really figuring out how to support and empower other people who can spark change, because that's been one of the coolest things for me in building Simple Mills, is seeing how the decisions that we make have been able to influence other players. And look, these are things that we don't do alone, but the food industry is very different than it was 14 years ago. When I came into this space, the baking mix aisle had a lot of sugar in it, a lot of processed carbohydrates, and now you see, I don't think that anyone would launch a baking mix with sugar as a number one ingredient, and so I just love to see that evolution has taken place and that we have been a part of that. And so I think about how can we create even more change about the things that we care about. For me, I really believe in that quote that to whom much is given, much is expected. And everyone in this room, we've all been given things, whether it is funding, whether it is whether it is a network, whether it is talent. We all have resources, and we all can leave things in a better place than we found them. And so I carry that sense of responsibility moving forward.
Spider-Man quote, I think. Maybe came before that too. Just building on the how you discover what to do next. You mentioned you're going to take a climate class here. Do you have a process? Are there some things you want to lean into as you give back? Or is that part of what you're going to take some of this time to do?
Yeah, 3 standout areas for me are really, first, the climate space. I think there's a lot to be done there. And to be honest, I'm a complete newbie to this world. And so the first step is learning. And I'd say that's true across the board in the philanthropic sphere for me. But the second area is really civic society and strengthening democracy. And the third area is really empowering others to spark change.
Amazing. Okay. We're actually doing really well on time.
Yeah, fantastic. I always go long.
Okay. Now we're going into the lightning round.
Yes.
Which you don't have to be as lightning about it because we've got some time. But here are the questions.
Yeah.
Let's see. Now I can't remember. Oh, name something you love about Marin County.
I love the nature. My husband and I both hike quite a bit. You can find me walking down the trail by the hospital there, the Marin Health Hospital. There's a fantastic trail there. So just love being close to nature.
Okay, amazing. What makes you hopeful?
I think a lot about the MLK quote that the arc of the moral universe is long and it bends toward justice. And I think about progress as something that is not a straight line. And this is something that I saw in our organization, and I think you see it on a much broader scale, which is that sometimes you have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward. And so that keeps me optimistic.
Okay. Love that answer. What fuels your creativity?
I'd say, the interesting thing is I'd say play and intuition, but with equal parts data. So I love both playing with the gut and also more disciplined science in order to inform direction. So most recently, I've actually been playing more with intuitive painting. which the idea is that you don't plan the artwork. You don't think about what comes next. You don't think about if you're going to keep enough white space on the canvas. You just go with what color, what shape, what object is supposed to go on there next, and you flow with the process. And I think oftentimes in business, we get stuck in being very practical, and everything has to have a purpose and a reason, and you have to be perfectly efficient. And I think sometimes that gets in the way of creativity. So building those mental processes can help support divergent thinking.
Okay. New one. What's your favorite Simple Mills product?
It changes all the time. I'm somebody who loves variety in food, and so I go from everything from our chocolate chip cookies, which I eat a lot of evenings. I love our pizza crust mix. We have a brand new regenerative organic certified cinnamon muffin mix, which I'm loving. It's got cinnamon roll topping, so highly recommend that. And it's our first regenerative organic product. Our banana muffins are also great. Yeah.
Let's see. The conference theme, built to last, build to last. What do you hope lasts with Simple Mills?
So one of the things that I charge our team with is that our role is to build something timeless. And what does it mean for something to be timeless in the food space? There are fads that come and go. And so the way that I think about fads or even how you design a product is I picture a Venn diagram where on one side there is what is currently in style or what people think is good for them. And then there's what is actually good for people. And the things that are actually good for people, there's a lot of research behind. And so we try to center our products there, where it's not only the things that people are excited about today, but that will make sense 20 years from now. And so my hope and my goal is that our products stand the test of time, that the things that, we believe that make us healthy today, we still believe make us healthy 20 years from now.
Share a piece of advice that you live by.
I think it's that maturity for me is defined as the distance between the stimulus and the reaction. So what I mean by that is, and I think building a company has been an education in this, that we all have a set of tools that we carry around. We have a toolbox. And we have the opportunity to decide which tools we pull out of the toolbox at different times. There are also tools that are undeveloped too. And so over time, you might acquire new tools. You might start out with just a hammer. Some people just start out with a hammer. Some people start out with just a feather. But you add new tools to that toolbox over time. And so on my best days, I try to pause between the things that pop up and think, okay, what is the tool that I'm going to pull out of the toolbox? Not just what tool do I want to pull out of the toolbox?
Nice. Okay, last question. How do you want to be remembered?
So one of the things that I have continually pushed our team towards is this idea that a rising tide raises all boats. We don't have to be perfect, but just move things closer to the goal. And so I want to be remembered as somebody who really was a rising tide that helped raise all boats.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Katlin.
Thank you.
Everyone get out and get those cinnamon rolls.